The sun broke through. They cried, rejoice, but silence strangled out my voice. They saw the light, I saw the glare, a warmth that couldn't find me here. The prize was mine, the stage was set, but all I felt was vague regret. They called it victory with glee. I simply wish they'd won instead of me. Some of you maybe we're expecting a victory speech today, All our waiting has finally been vindicated with the God's Limits animation, but how? How can I sit here and celebrate knowing Asmoday, our beloved sustainer of heavenly principles, is missing? Guys, look at the channel banner, the profile picture, the Astolfo in the bottom right corner. Guys, how can I sit here and celebrate while she's missing? It's like I'm a parent of 4 missing kids and 3 have been brought to me. Can I truly be happy whilst the last child, the most important child, our openly favorite child, is missing? No. Let the date July 9th, 2025 forever live in infamy as a day that some celebrated and others looked at in horror, much like September the 11th, 2001. Now, some of you guys might be going, whoa, even for you, that joke's a bit fucked. Some of you with a really broad horizon in life might have understood the meaning behind that joke. My name, the channel name, is Teyvat. It's an Ethiopian name. And let me give you a fun fact about old Ethiopia. It's been celebrating New Year's on Meskedem the 1st for over 2,000 years. It just so happens when the Gregorian calendar came into being some 1,500 years later, September the 11th fell on that date, which, in and of itself wouldn't have been problematic if a little over 500 years later, some cave dwellers with a passion for flying and a grudge against Western imperialism decided to combine the two hobbies, so, that sucks. Well, that intro is beefy enough. If you sat through it all and you're still here, you must really want to know the answer to the question, is Asmoday, the missing shade of the heavenly principles, really Paimon, the traveler's best friend? Let me disclose my biases first and foremost, which is that I slightly dislike Paimon, and I wish her death every day. Well, I must confess I've struggled to understand what people go through that makes them want to end it all, knowing there's a decent chance that our beloved sustainer of heavenly principles,
the sustainer of heavenly principles, the arrogation of mankind ends now.
once stood proud and tall like a force of nature, an impenetrable wall that 1v2 the travelers at full strength could now be reduced to this. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't starting to hear the call of the void. For those unaware of why this line of thinking, Asmoday is Paimon, is gaining some credence, it's because of a couple scenes from the animation that mention Asmoday has gone missing and has a new master.
It's clear that Asmoday is not here.
But you're right. There's no trace of Asmoday here. Where has she gone? Since the heavenly principles cast us as shades, not one of us has ever missed a meeting.
What if she just switched sides?
Unless she loves her new master more than her own self.
Now, these scenes are interesting for a number of different reasons. Asmoday is missing. Missing is doing quite a lot of heavy lifting here because we lack one crucial piece of information, which is, how long has Asmoday been missing? And I ask this because I truly believe that no matter the answer to that question, Asmoday cannot be Paimon. Either that, or MiHoYo is going to take this story in a direction that not one person believes they have the balls to do, which would be the ultimate betrayal from the traveler's best friend. Let me explain. The reason the answer to the question, how long has Asmoday been missing, matters is because we just saw Asmoday. She was listening in on the traveler's conversation in a meeting that was only possible due to Istaroth. These portals are the exact same ones we see Asmoday pop out of at the start of the game, so it's undeniable that this is her leaving, but if that's the case, then we found her. So what does it mean that she's missing? If the Shades deemed her missing as a result of Asmoday missing this meeting that all Shades have attended since time immemorial, then to them, Asmoday has only just gone missing right now, irrespective of how long she's actually been missing. So for instance, even if in this moment Renova saw Paimon, who's Asmoday, she might not have been missing yet. It's only when Asmoday failed to show up to the meeting that they called her missing. But there's a problem with this line of thinking, and it's the Shades' wording. Not only do they say Asmoday has gone missing, they question where she's gone as if they've truly no idea.
Where has she gone?
If Asmoday really was Paimon, then they'd certainly know where she is, even if they don't have her precise location. She's on Teyvat, and she's right by the Traveler. Now, exploring the flip side, Asmoday has been missing since the end of the Cataclysm or any extended period of time. This only further dooms the Asmoday-Paimon connection, because the Shades know that Asmoday has a new master. They presumably know who that is, even if they were just beating around the bush with it, and if Asmoday is Paimon and her master is the Traveler, then surely Renova would have spoken up upon seeing her sister missing for 500 years at Mawika's last stand, yet Renova didn't even acknowledge the Traveler nor Paimon's existence. Now, I see some people say maybe Renova couldn't see because she wasn't there in person. I mean, disregarding the fucking 5 eyeballs that all twitch, Renova quite literally says she's here to watch an execution.
I was to bear witness to a death.
Well, now watching, as history has taught us, is generally a visual experience. So unless you think she brought 5 eyeballs to a sound-only event, I'm not buying the bitch couldn't see nothing here. What's more, let's say Asmoday is Paimon. To find her, all the Shades would have to do is spend 8 nanoseconds using their power to find the Traveler, and wherever the Traveler is, Paimon is. Yet, their wording makes it sound as if the search would be a Galaxy-class operation, and this would make sense if Asmoday is consciously off doing her own thing as not Paimon. What's more, the Shades are not nearly as oblivious as we think them to be. The Heavenly Principles may be asleep, but the Shades reveal they know the Tsaritsa has her eyes set on the Heavenly Principles, which means they have eyes everywhere. Circling back, if Asmoday is Paimon, is Asmoday consciously doing anything as Paimon? Or is Paimon simply some lesser form Asmoday chose to inhabit to work with the Traveler, for some reason also choosing to give herself amnesia, and over time grew to love the Traveler more than the original purpose she chose to don that form? My friends, if Asmoday is Paimon, she has to be aware of it. I say this purely based on Asmoday choosing to eavesdrop on the twins' conversation in a private space. A space that Paimon never made it into. One moment she's here, and the next she's gone. If Asmoday really couldn't stand not hearing what the leader of the Abyss Order had to say, then it makes sense she'd use her own powers to open up a space that allowed her to listen in. She is the ruler of space, after all. But to do this, Paimon, or Asmoday, would have had to have been aware that she's locked out and would have needed to make a new path. In this case, Asmoday is consciously aware of what she's doing as Paimon, and what's more, this would indicate she's choosing this appearance as Paimon and still retains parts of her original power, as opposed to being forced to become Paimon to save her being were she corrupted by the Abyss, or for another reason entirely. But if this is true, and she is Paimon, then she's not the comic relief, she's the endgame. It means she faked going to sleep when Dottore used a weapon that affects only the non-gods. It means she's playing dumb and pretending to forget Greater Lord Rukkhadevata ever existed. It would quite literally be the longest con for the greatest betrayal. This would involve Asmoday playing a far deeper game than any of us thought possible within this story, because you can't have it both ways. Asmoday is either fully aware she's Paimon, or Asmoday isn't Paimon at all. Either Asmoday is an amnesiac Paimon, in which case her sneaking into this space makes no sense, as she'd have no memories of her original mission and thus no reason or way to sneak in here, or she's always been aware of who she really is and understood the importance of listening into the twins' meeting. All we can say for certain is in this crucial moment, a meeting between 2 Outlanders, one a Descender, the other the leader of the Abyss Order. Paimon was outside, and the Sustainer was inside. You either think this was a coincidence, or not.